Hey guys, so I want to do a quick little review here of the Nintendo Switch console and also the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wind game. Yes, it's a bit late. Obviously, this has been out for a couple of months now, but I just heard some good things about it and I wanted to check it out because I'm a big Zelda fan. Back in the day, I played pretty much every Zelda game when they were released, like Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, etc. So I wanted to see, how is this modern Zelda? Is it any good here? Is it worth buying a Nintendo Switch for? And I got to say, I'm a little bit disappointed with the game actually in several aspects. I mean, don't get me wrong, it has some nice stuff, but I think compared to the older games, it doesn't feel like as engrossing like the older games you used to really kind of get you engrossed in the story, but the story on this one feels a little bit weak in comparison. Before talking about the game, we can just also talk about the actual hardware here, which I think Nintendo could definitely improve, in terms of the hardware. I mean, we're getting, I think, 720p display here with like LCD viewing angles, but it doesn't look like LCD. It actually looks like a TN kind of panel, like the old display. It doesn't look too bad head on, but when you're coming from smartphones with like Quad HD, Super AMOLED displays, I think they could have definitely contracted out to another company to build a nicer piece of hardware, because the hardware to me looks, with this massive kind of bezel, it looks kind of outdated in comparison to what you can get in terms of phones. The hardware, it does the job, in terms of playing the game, but it could have been better, that's for sure. Next thing we want to talk about then is the actual game here. So you can see I'm actually quite far through the game. For the first half of the game, I didn't actually know what I was doing, to be honest. I was just learning the actual buttons, but I have actually got some experience now. So with this game, you have to actually go to 4 different areas and slay the guardians, which I have done. And after that, I was expecting, something to actually happen where you have to grow up or something, and then you have another set of bosses to defeat. Well, that never actually happened. Instead, I was just told to go to the castle and help Zelda to defeat Ganon, which, to me was a bit like I was expecting something more, and I think that's basically what I've actually encountered here with the game. Generally, I was expecting more from it, given all the hype about it. Now, let's talk about the good things about the game. The first thing which I do enjoy actually is the when you use the paraglider thing. So, like when you're on like a cliff here, let's just go through this cave. I'd say the locales are pretty amazing actually. Really nice exploration game for those who like that. But that can be a double-edged sword here in terms of it can get quite boring going around the same thing. But this kind of thing here, where you like floating from one rock to another, is pretty amazing and never gets boring actually. A really enjoyable game mechanic this is. I think, in terms of, it could have been a little bit better, I think. Like, they could have implemented some interesting, techniques that you could do with your sword, but nevertheless, it's a nice feature, and I'll give them that. The next thing I do like is the cooking aspect of the game. So, obviously, when you need a pot or something, but when you do have a pot available, you can actually use, these ingredients to make different potions and food, etc. So it reminds me of some old school games, actually, because you never know what you're going to make, and I think that the crafting experience is pretty good, really. So those are the 2 things which I actually enjoy about the game. So not that many things, really. I mean, the things that I can talk about which I don't enjoy is the new shrine things, which is overtaking the dungeon like we used to have, like the dingy dungeons. The dingy dungeons you used to have on the older Zelda games are gone, and we have these shrine things, which they all look the same, like they've just copied and pasted them all. They don't seem to have any variation with them, and you go inside them, there's a puzzle, you beat the puzzle and you get a spirit thing, compared to before, where you go inside, you don't know what you're going to actually encounter, you're going to get different treasures, etc. Definitely preferred that one than what we're getting nowadays. So not really a fan of the shrine system. The next thing to talk about is the weapon durability, which I found to be very annoying actually, because it means you can't actually, learn any interesting stuff in terms of the weaponry. Like for example, with other games like the From Software series of Bloodborne and the DS series, they have some amazing weapons that you can learn different tricks and stuff. But with these ones, because they break so fast, you can't really, learn anything with them. The combat doesn't feel quite as satisfying as well as like what other games you can get on the PlayStation at the moment, like from Software. So I think Zelda's felt fun, but a bit behind here. I mean, when you compare the bosses from From Software on the Dark Souls series compared to the bosses here, the bosses here just feel like they're kind of all the same. There's no like difference between them, but they're very imaginative with From Software. So they definitely need to return back to how it used to be. Zelda used to have some amazing kind of bosses. So I think they could definitely bring that back. And the other thing that I thought was quite annoying was how kind of unfair the game is, because you can be alive one moment and the next moment you just get hit and then that's it. It never used to be like that. It used to give you a chance kind of thing, but they made it extremely difficult, like sometimes against some enemies which have like different colours. So I don't know why they've done that, because it takes the fun out of the game completely. A lot of the enemies seem to be like copy and paste as well of each other. You don't seem to have like any like real, like there seems to be all of them the same kind of thing. And I like games which have different like enemies and different styles of like taking them on, etc. So I'd say those are the main things which kind of make me think of this game as similar to the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Those two I didn't like as well. And I was expecting, good things here actually. So maybe you'll enjoy it. I'm not saying it's not for everyone, but if you're looking at getting a Switch because of this game, I definitely recommend you try it out first, because obviously you're paying like €300 for the actual Switch and this game, and if you don't like it, you're stuck with something that you could have got yourself like a PlayStation or Xbox One, which could have had better games for you. So yeah, obviously it's going to ruffle quite a few feathers of Zelda fanboys, but I'm a fan of the series myself, but I think that they could have done better here. They could have looked at what some other developers are doing, like From Software, for example, and Naughty Dog, to make more kind of engrossing storyline. So yeah, just a quick little review here of the Nintendo Switch and the the Zelda Breath of the Wind. Obviously I do like to delve into gaming now and again, and I hope you find it helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.